Welcome, beautiful souls, to Enchanted Moments podcast. I'm Monica,
I'm Spencer.
and I want to talk a little bit today about cycles of time. And we've been talking about our galactic calendar. If you've been watching our podcasts, that starts in July 26th. So,
May have already started.
oh, it could have already started. So,
Time.
Crazy. We're talking about cycles of time. It's really important in today's world because it has been crazy, and people are always looking for ways to become more resilient. And I think with more information and understanding how cycles interact, we can then be more resilient because we have more information. There's three massive cycles that are occurring right now, and they're all sort of colliding. Usually you get one or two happening. Now we have three coinciding. So it's important to understand what that means. The three cycles are climate, economics, and human conflict. And if you look at the astrology of what's happening now, it's very similar to what was occurring in the sky at the time of the Civil War. So if you want to look at historical fact, chances are you're going to find that the same three cycles are interacting at that time. But this is why it's important. The way they measure cycles, so you don't think it's just a lot of crazy stuff, there are sediments that they take out of the ocean, like a mile down into the soil, which then you can see what a year is. They take ice cores out of Antarctica and do the same thing. Every year a new layer of ice is laid down so that you can go back and look at what's going on. So they can see if there's volcanic ash in that layer. There's all kinds of ways, and they count them so they know how long it has been. You can also use tree rings, however, they only go back a certain amount of time. We're going to go back 450,000 years with the sediments and the ice cores. And they decided that because of global warming, which is a cycle, by the way, they went and took a lot of extra ice cores. And it's out of a specific place. It's called the Vostok ice sheet, and it is solid. So they've been taking the cores out of there. They're in storage, so that they are going to have multiple ways of looking at this over time in case they start to melt. So here we go. Temperature in climates ebbs and flows. And they have found that, yes, CO2 is related to the temperature, but it looks like the temperature changes before the CO2 level. So yes, they are related. Yes, we are pouring significant amounts of greenhouse gases into our environment. Yes, it does all kinds of things. However, there is a natural temperature ebb and flow in Earth cycles. And right now we are in a warming cycle. Is it the hottest it's ever been? Nope. But it is definitely a warming cycle. So that is occurring right now, and it has an effect. Because if you look at where that has the largest effect right now, it's in the northern hemisphere, right? Mm-hmm. It's always hot in the southern hemisphere. Now we're getting warmer in the northern hemisphere. Where do we have most of our land mass? In the northern hemisphere. Where do we grow most of our food? In the northern hemisphere. So you have to think about things as what are the effects? The UN knows that there is enough food produced globally to feed everybody. The question is, do we have a priority to do that? Obviously not. We still have starving people all over the world, including in the United States. So there are people who are going to bed hungry and do not have enough food everywhere. We have to make food delivery, food availability a priority. Otherwise it doesn't get done, period. So we're warming up. Economic. The economy is also in cycles, and they name them based on spring, summer, fall, winter. So, and I'm going to get this wrong if I screw it up, So we will make sure that I don't. Okay. And they measure global economies, and it's in a 66-year cycle, which they've divided up into seasons. So if you look back at 1949 to 1966, that was a spring cycle. It's an initial inflationary cycle. And if you look back, we can look at that time frame, and you will find that it is the beginning of an inflationary period. Now, 66 to 80 is summer, and that was a runaway inflationary period. Oh my God. I mean, we were looking at interest rates that were crazy. If you put money into a savings account, you'd get 17 and 18% interest. It was insane. People complained about their mortgages now at 3 and 4 and 5 and 6%. They were 13, 14, and 15% mortgages during some of that period of time. I was lucky enough in 1972 to get a mortgage at 7%. I thought that was fantastic, right? Now we're complaining if it's, whatever. So you have to think about where we are in the cycles. In the autumn, it's starting to go the other way. So your initial deflation period, and then in 2000 to 2015, we're in the winter, which is deflationary. It also has things losing value. So your property isn't as valuable, your stocks aren't as valuable, everything seems to lose value. From 2015 to 2030, we are now in spring, which is beginning of an inflationary period. And if you look at the bank numbers coming out on the news every so many months, you're going to find that grocery prices went up 2.7%, unemployment went up to whatever percent. I mean, you're going to be able to track it yourself. This was done by an economist, and it really has fit. They've gone back and looked at all the different periods of time, and it's a cycle, just like everything else. So, we want to say this person was president, we didn't have any deficit. Yeah, there's some truth to that. However, some of this is occurring no matter what happens here. It's a global function. Human conflict is the third one that's occurring right now. And it's done in periods as well. And if you look at it over time, it goes up and down, and you'll see that, in the recent period, like 2011, we had Iraq, etc., going on, and now we have Ukraine and Middle East, and okay. Here's the deal with human conflict. It's not inevitable. Human conflict, the activities are there that are going to cause this as a cycle to be there. How we deal with that cycle is the important thing. Do we go out and start World War III? It's looking not good, but or do we look at the world in terms of, instead of conflict and survival of the strongest, and we look at it as a cooperative venture, we try, and looking at what's best for all, and not to act impulsively. So it's a good time to, before we jump in and decide how we're going to react to things, to sort of step back and give ourselves a moment to say, how do I want to respond to this stimulus? Am I going to go, or am I going to sit back and go, okay, how can we deal with this in a different way? There are enough provisions, whether it's energy, food, water, on the planet to support the number of people we have. So it's just a matter of figuring out how to do that effectively for everyone. So you need to think about the world in terms of that. But right now we do have these three colliding cycles. So it's kind of a crazy, crazy time. And if you're feeling stressed and you don't even know why, this is probably one of the big reasons why. Because all this stuff is occurring around you. It's Mother Earth doing her thing, heating things up, making us more uncomfortable. But you just have to realize this is not the worst it's ever been. Not that makes you feel better. I mean, we can lie about it, but who cares if it's not the worst? I wasn't around for the worst. So anyway, I want you to think of time, economics, and human conflict as three separate cycles. And unfortunately, right now they're colliding, and we need to think of ways where we can work to become more resilient human beings going through this cycle. One thing you can do is, first of all, awareness. So be sure you're paying attention to the information that is provided. Yes, there's global warming. Yes, we've probably contributed to all kinds of other planetary problems with our trash and everything else in the air. However, what they're finding scientifically is that the CO2 level in and of itself, by itself, is not the cause of global warming, believe it or not. But we're probably not helping, okay? There's a lot of other things that are going on that we could do a better job with. The economy, there's not much you can do except, be aware that it's occurring, be aware of where we are in the cycle. So if this is the, initiation of an inflationary cycle, then, look at what that means. How can you respond to that fiscally? So, bonds probably, as safe as they are during a down period, they're probably not going to earn you as much money. And I shouldn't be telling people this. Anyway.
We are not financial advisors.
We are not financial advisors. So don't pay any attention to me.
But just something to keep in there.
Inflation causes stock values to go up. Let's just put it that way. And if you look at a portfolio, you want both stocks and bonds. And when one goes up, the other normally goes down. So it's a game. We don't want to play. So, we did have 2008, which crashed everything. So we don't want to go there. But be aware. Follow some of that information that comes out. If nothing else, listen to Marketplace on NPR at 6:30 every day in Eastern Time, and they will give you the highlights. There you go. So you'll know what's coming out. You'll know what your politicians and bankers are knowing as well, so that you can respond in a smart and intelligent way. Human conflict, all you can do is change you. As we've said a million times, the only way to change the whole is to change you. So please step back, think about how you're going to respond, look at things in a less violent way, and try to seek a cooperative answer that might be good for more than just one group or one person. Meditate. That will allow your higher self to come through, and it's obviously going to give you the proper information. When you make decisions, make them through the heart so that you know that you're going in the direction your soul wishes you to in this lifetime. Those are all really good ways for us to deal with all the things in the world and Mother Earth that we have no control over. And that's part of our learning experience on this planet, is that there are going to be significant amounts of activity that you have no control over, and that we learn to go with the flow and follow our hearts and ask our higher self what the best answer is for us on any given time, and go with that information as opposed to trying to intellectualize everything. But information is power, so the more information you have, the better you're going to do. So I suggest you pay attention to what's going on. We will cool off again, and then we're not going to have an ice age. That's not what we're headed towards, but it's going to eventually cool again and then get higher and cool again. It's a cycle. So just be aware of where we are in each cycle and act appropriately. So hopefully that was good information. Hopefully it will help people. But we all understand the stressors that we're going through at this particular period of time, and hopefully there will be answers for you. If you need help, if you want to get a reading, or if you feel like you need more information, just come on in and do that. It's always helpful. We've had nothing but really, really good feedback on everybody who's had questions answered, either through readings or with our staff. We are more than happy to spend time with you. So please be careful, take time and make your decisions heartfelt, and we will see you next time. Have a blessed day.